Hi friends, I'm in my front garden and I have this Chaste tree, also called Vitex tree, that I am hoping to train and prune into more of a tree form and less of a shrub. So I thought I'd take you along as I do that and show you how I do it. So this is in my front garden on the south side of my house. So this faces south and west, so it gets a lot of full direct sunlight. Vitex trees, if you aren't familiar with them, I will put a picture of them up on the screen, but they are beautiful. Most of them tend to be like a violety blue, and this variety is Shoal Creek, which is a fairly common variety that does have the violet blue flower. They are what I would call a large shrub to small tree. They get about 10 to 12 feet tall and that wide as well. But the cool thing about Vitex trees is you really can prune them and shape them how you want. Right here, I have the Vitex tree in the middle. And because this is on the front of our house, close to the house, I did not want a tree that was too large. So I settled on the Vitex tree and I'm really excited. I love that it has like good structure at the bottom. So basically all I'm gonna do is take some of these lower limbs out and just limb it up and let it get taller. So eventually the shrub part, the foliage tree part will start higher up. It'll take some time, but it'll be pretty along the way. It is currently surrounded by some alliums, and then it also, I have planted around it some Russian sage, and this is the Proven Winners Denim and Lace, which is also a blue bloom with like silvery gray foliage. So I'm really excited about this. This tree went in last fall, so we have not seen it bloom. We purchased it after it bloomed. But a little bit about Vitex trees is they like full sun. They can tolerate drought conditions once they're established. They're really, really hardy. And if you're wondering what this tubing laying on the ground is, that's the irrigation line. Because this bed is still such a work in progress and there's not much in it, I just laid the irrigation line on top, and I still have to hook all of these plants up to irrigation, which I'll do later this spring. And then once we come in with mulch, we'll just mulch on top of it. So it won't be there forever. I do not like looking at it, but it's a necessary thing right now. I'm gonna go ahead and start pruning on it and I'll just take you along. So basically what I'm doing is I'm gonna remove definitely all these little spindly thin branches at the bottom. But the other thing I want to do is really kind of just look at the overall shape and decide what shape I want it to take. Basically, which of these do I want to be my main trunks? So it's going to be a multi-trunked tree slash large shrub. And it's a very fast growing plant, really vigorous. It can put on like 24 inches, 2 feet of growth per year, blooms on new wood. So cutting it like this does no harm to it as far as its blooms. It actually is a great way to kind of size control it and shape it the way you want. So looking at these, I'm unfortunately probably going to take some of these bigger branches out just because I want to keep these main trunks and really let them concentrate on growing vertically rather than putting on all this outward growth. So it might look a little strange and a little harsh at first, but in the long run, I promise it'll look great. So I can see here, I have two really nice branches that I think would make good trunks, 2 here and 1 here. So it'll be a 5 trunk tree. And basically everything that is not going to be part of this trunk, I am just going to cut out. As painful as it is. And when you're pruning anything, you always want to take it back to just above where there's buds that are swelling. Otherwise, if I were to cut this one here, I know you can't see it from where you are, but there's a bud here, 2 buds here, buds here. If I cut it right here, this will all be dead. And this is where the growth points are going to start. So it just makes more sense to, rather than have that dead stick at the top, cut it right above the buds. Vitex also do really well in really humid, just hot, hot conditions, which is why I've always seen them. They are all over southeastern North Carolina, where I am from. And I think they would really do well pretty much anywhere in the South. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it already, but this particular variety is hardy to zones 5 through 9. And anytime you're pruning anything, you always want to be on the lookout for any branches that are crossing or rubbing up against each other, because that will just damage the branches. Anything that's crossing over center or growing back in towards the center, you want to get rid of. So now I'm just going to kind of look around and decide what I really want to be my main leaders. So I think I'm going to take this whole guy out. So I'm debating taking this out. I think for this season, I'm going to leave this and see if I get any. Actually, no. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to let it focus on this one. All right, so that is it. You can kind of see here, I have selected my 5 main leaders that are going to be my trunks, tree trunks. And then I just tried to take them straight up as much as I can, because I didn't start on this and get it when it was super young. It's not going to be exactly how I would, want it to be, but I still think it'll be a really nice shape. And eventually we can get it looking like a really pretty small tree form in this part of the yard. And like I said, do not be afraid to cut on Vitex. They can totally take it. All right, friends, and that is pruning on a Vitex tree, turning it into a tree. You can do this with a lot of different things. Crepe myrtles are a good one. There's a few others, and I'm like, nothing's coming to mind. If something pops in my mind, I'll put it on the screen for you. But there's a lot of different large shrubs that you can prune up into a tree form. So you have a small tree, which is perfect for areas like this, where it's close to our house, and I don't want a great big massive 30-foot tree where its roots are going to invade and get close to the foundation. So a lot of times I will use these large shrubs and just train them and make them look like a tree. Let me know if you've ever grown Vitex tree, and if you've had any luck with it. I'll make sure I keep you updated on what it looks like as it starts to fill in and blossom. They are really beautiful trees. This bed is so much of a work in progress, but we're getting there. There's some bones in there, some structure. When we purchased this property, this bed stopped right about there. It was about 3 feet out from the side of the house, and we brought all this dirt in to extend the bed. The driveway will eventually be taken up here for a parking pad, which is why the drainage is just kind of stuck right there, and it's just, there's not much going on over here. Eventually it'll be a parking pad because we have a door on this side of the house to enter. All right, friends, something I have to remind myself of is small progress is still progress. This bed to me is blank. There's not hardly anything in it. To me, it's completely bare. I know that there's things in there and that I've made some progress. It's not where I would like it to be. We will get there eventually. I have the vision in my mind. So I really appreciate you watching today. Thanks for gardening with me.